Hello everyone, this is Mayank Sangvi from vlemon.com and I am back with another SQL Server 2014 tutorial video. And in this video we are going to learn about group by clause. This is the content for this video. What is group by clause? How to use it in SQL Server. And this is my blog link for your future reference. If you want to read anything again, then you can visit this blog. Before starting explaining what is group by clause, I want to show you I covered all this topic as a part of select statement. You can check all this in my previous video. So I explain how to use a select statement with a table name. I explain how to use top and distinct in a select statement. I explain how to filter your records using where clause. I explain how to sort your data or output using order by clause. Now let's start. What is group by clause? So this is the content, exact content which I want to show as a part of group by clause, and I want to cover lots of stuff in this. That's why I divided this video in two parts. In first part we are going to learn about the aggregate function, and then we are going to write a simple group by query. In second part we are going to use over clause, ranking functions such as row number, rank, tens rank, and entile. Now question, what is group by clause? Group by clause is used to create summary based on the columns you selected in group by. Okay, for explaining this, let me open my Excel first. Excel. Let's say you have a table, customer table, and customer table contains the sales or purchasing done by a customer. So let's say I have contained two columns in my customer table. One is CID, first one is the customer ID. And let's say this is the due amount. So 100. I am generating some random values for due amount. And now I want to know how much purchasing done by a particular customer. So I am going to group my records based on a customer ID. So let's say if I group my records based on customer ID and then perform a sum on due amount, then I am able to say that customer ID 1 perform total this amount of purchase from my store. So for this I have to perform group by and customer ID, and then I have to use a aggregate function on due column. So this is the main purpose of group by clause, to summarize data. Okay, before explaining the query of group by clause, let me first show you the aggregate function. Here is the syntax of group by clause. Select column used in group by. So you have to list the columns used in a group by clause. And sorry for this error, group by I typed by twice, so this is incorrect. So you have to type group by and then columns name. And having condition is used to filter the grouped data. If you aware about where clause, then where clause is used to filter your output, and group by is used to having is used to filter your grouped data. So I will explain this later. So first let me explain the aggregate functions. Okay, I want to open my SQL Server Management Studio, and this all aggregate functions I want to show in this video. Okay, first one is sum. Sum is used to perform summation operation on your given column. So let's say I want to perform sum of this, all this. So I am going to say sum and then the column name. So the same thing, this is the syntax sum. If you want sum of all values, then use all and then column name. If you want to sum distinct values, then you can use distinct keyword and then provide the column name. I'm going to explain the over clause in the next video or the next part of this tutorial. So let's start. This is my database table, contains sales order history. Yeah, I want to connect this, and let me show you all the columns available in this. I don't want total due, I want all columns. So this table contains sales order, revision order date, due date, ship date, status, online order flag, sales order number, purchase order number, account number, customer ID, salesperson ID, territory ID, and here it is total due. If I want to calculate all the total amount right now, then how to perform a total due? For this I am going to use sum on total due column. So this is the syntax. Select sum, open bracket, total due, close bracket, from adventure works sales order header. It will return the sum of total due amount. But this is actually meaningless. You can say that this is the total purchase done by customer till date. If you want more details, then you have to combine this sum operation with your group by clause. So we are going to show this in the last. Let me cover the other aggregate function first. Okay, and if you want to know the sum of distinct value, then you can use sum distinct total due. I think you are not able to understand this, so I created a table, the same table here, customer ID with due amounts, and in this I have few records. So let me create it first. Create table, and then we are going to insert record in this. And now this is the content for the table, customer IDs and their dues. And let me copy this in my Excel file. Okay, customer ID and due. Let me sort this data based on, sorry, I have to sort only this. Okay, now this is customer ID 1, 2, 3 and 5. Now the sum operation is going to perform sum of all columns. So if I say sum due or say select sum, I have to say select sum due from table, then it will perform sum of everything. And if I am going to write this query with distinct keyword, then it is going to perform summation of 100, 200, 300, 150, 200. No, I think it is covered above 300 and 150. So I think this is the output 750. So let's execute our query first. So we are able to get this. Sum means it is going to calculate everything available in due amount or due column, and sum distinct means only the sum of distinct value. Okay, now the next aggregate function is average. Average is used for calculating the average for the given column, and the syntax is same like some function. You have to type average, then all or distinct columns you want in average. If you are going to add nothing, then all the rows are going to participate in average calculation. If you use distinct, then only the distinct values are going to participate to calculate average. Here is the syntax, the same for calculating average on total due for all the columns, and this is the average to calculate based on distinct available row in total due. And the same thing, average. And I want to tell one thing, that null record is not going to participate in any type of aggregate functions. So if we say sum, then it is going to perform sum of all this record. So let me highlight this with a green color. So all this record highlighted with green is going to participate in aggregate function. Now the sum is the calculation of all the green columns. Okay, and now we are talking about average. So average, I have total 6 and 10. I have 10 columns. So the average is this divided by number of columns. So this is the summation and this is the average. So let's execute our query on our temporary table. So this is our average, and if we are going to say the average of this string, then this is the sum of the string. So let me copy this here. So let's say I want to add distinct keyword here. So this is the sum for this string, and I think we have 1 2 3 4 records. So let me by 4, and here is the 187.5. Currently it is not showing the 0.5 because of the data type issue. Our distinct is a integer column, and average is always written or all the aggregate function returns the numeric value or numeric data type. Can I use cast here? Cast is, let's say, numeric 22, 0, or let's say 2. Okay, and then again I'm going to perform average, and here we got the exact result which we are looking. So what I did here, I convert my due from integer to a numeric and then perform an average function. Now I am able to see the exact value of average on in case of distinct. The next function is minimum. Minimum is used to find the lowest value available in your record. So the next question, again this is an aggregate function. Now the question for you guys, you have to pause this video and type your answer in the comment. So whether the null is going to participate in this. Okay, I am going to answer this question in couple of seconds, but you have to answer this first, and then you have to check this in the video. Now the answer is no. Again, this is the query on AdventureWorks, and this is the query on our this table. So table 1, our timetable 1, and let me merge this, and I want minimum due on our table. So the minimum value is 100. Just execute this, and we got 100 in both the case. Now you can use minimum function on 3 types of column, and the columns are types of the columns are numeric, integer. So you can say this is the number class. You can use on strings, and you can use it on a date function, date column. At least I think numeric and integer are separate, but I just categorize it numbers, strings, and date. So let me execute once more, and you are able to see 100 in the output. And again I created a new table, hash table 2. It contains id with alphabet. So if I say minimum alphabet, then it is going to return a. And what if I am going to remove a? Then of course it is going to return b. Hash table, no, I don't want to drop it. Delete. From where my alphabet is equals to e. So execute. Delete from. Okay, I'm really sorry. This is my mistake. I'm really sorry for the mistake. And one row is affected. Let me execute this once more. And now the output is b. The next function is maximum. Maximum is just opposite of minimum. Minimum is going to return the minimum value. Maximum function is going to return the maximum available value in your database table. So this is the example with your database table, and this is the example with our first time table containing customer ID and customer due amount. So for the whole stuff, it is saying 300 is total due. The maximum due is 300 in the table. And in case of alphabets, you can say the maximum is f. Now I didn't. Okay, sorry for this. By mistake I execute all the query. I don't want this, so let me hide this. Okay, no issue. I didn't show the example with date column in case of min and max, so I can find it with a date column. So let me find a date column in my table. I want top 10 records to find the list of order date. Let me use order. This is order date. Okay, now I can ask a question with my SQL Server. Please give me the first date where the first purchase is done by a customer. So how to write this query? Simple. I'm going to use min order date from my table. It will going to answer that the first record or the first purchase done by any customer is with this date. So my first purchase is done on 31st January, February, March, April, June. It's May. So my first purchase done on 31st May 2011. And in other words, you can say what is the last purchase done by any customer. So we can say the maximum order date. And in our database table, only records are available up to 30 June 2014. So the database is going to return 30 June 2014. So this is the way you can use a date column in min and max. The next function which I am going to show is count. Okay, what is the function of count? Count is going to return the number of non-null values for the given column. If you are not going to give any column, it is going to return the count of your tables or the number of records available in your table. So in count, not null values and null values are included when you didn't mention any column name. And in case of column name, only the count of non-null records will return. So if I have to find number of records, then this is the query. This query, oh sorry guys. If I have to find the number of records available in a database table, then I can use this syntax to find the number of rows. Okay, another method, you can execute this, but it will take lot of time if your database table contains lots of records. So see, the execution time for this is almost more than 1 second. But if you have rows more than, or you have rows million rows, then select star from is going to take lot of times to return the number of rows. If you want to know what is number of records available in this table, then you can use count star. So here it is, it not take any, see, this amount of time is negligible in case of this table because it contains very few records. Of course, count is also takes some effort to calculate the number of records. Here is the syntax or execution plan. If you are aware about execution plan, then you are able to understand. But I want to explain the execution plan, so I am going to explain this in the features of the video. Okay, and now the count with cells total due column. In this, it is going to return the non-null records in total due. So I think practically it is not possible that the total due column having null values. So in this scenario, both the records count star, count 1 or count total due is equal. And distinct keyword is going to return only the count of distinct values available for those columns. Let me show this in my temp table, because in my temporary table I have null records. So let me show you this. So now my table contains 28 records. Why 28 records? By mistake I execute all the queries, so my insert queries run twice. I'm talking about this insert query. Okay, no issue. So this is count star, count 1, and the count of columns, and finally the count of distinct dues. So this is the result of number of rows available in hash table. This is also a output of number of rows in the given table. Now one question for you guys, you have to write a query, or you have to explain me the difference between count star and count 1. I am not going to cover this in this video. You have to answer this first, and then I am going to explain this in my other video. And if I already published this video, then this is a humble request for me. First you have to answer this, and then you have to watch this video. The count of non-null records is this, and we got 20. And count of distinct record is 4. So let me copy the output of this table once more. Execute. copy with headers, and here is our table. I want to sort my data, and here it is. Okay, so if you can see, I have distinct value count is 4, and the non-null records count is twice of this because we executed the query twice. So this is 6 and 10. So the count of non-null record is 20. Okay, no issue. Now the next function or next function is count big. Count big is exactly same as count. The main difference is if your count is going to reach its maximum limit, this is the maximum limit for your count. So if says your database table contains more record than this value, then your count function is going to fail. In this scenario, you have to use count big. The syntax is same. Instead of count, you have to type count big. So here is the example of count big. This query is going to return number of rows in database table. This query again is going to return number of records in database table. The third query is going to return not null count in our sales order header table, and the final query is going to return only count of distinct values. Okay, I think you're fine with this, and let's see the same with our timetable. So first I want a star, then I want 1, and let's execute. What will be the output? 28, 28, 20 and 4. And let's compare the same thing with count. I hope you are now able to answer the difference between count and count big. Simple. If your range is breached with this value, then you have to use count big. Now I have to explain you the variance, static deviation and checksum aggregate. Okay, no issue. Here is checksum, here is the static deviation, and here is the variation. The variation function is used to calculate the statistical variance for the given column, and here is the example. If you want to know the definition of static variance, I am not going to explain this in this video. I already created another video for this, so you can check the definition of statistical variance in my next video. Okay, so this is the variance of total due, and this is the variance of distinct value. Again, we execute the same query on our temporary table. Statistical standard deviation. For calculating statistical standard deviation, you have to use STDEV. And here is the example with our sales order header table, and the same query with our temporary table. Finally, the checksum aggregate returns the checksum for the given column. Okay, what exactly is this? Let me explain the same for my temporary table. And let's say copy the output of this. So it is created a checksum for all the records available in my database table for the given column. Sorry, I have this. And now let me modify few records in this. Can I insert a new record? Let's update one record. Okay, so I want to update my table. I want to set due to 1000, where my customer ID equals to 1 and due is equals to 100. So let's update one record. 6 rows are affected. Okay, this is because 1 2 3. Okay, no issue. And let's calculate this once more. Again this is 0 and the checksum for the distinct is now it's 766. Okay, for further reference on checksum you can check my blog. Now finally it's time to use our group by clause. I am going to explain what is group by clause. So let me open this. Okay, for example I have a database table which contains all this, and as I mentioned previously, if I want to know how much purchase is done by a particular customer, then I have to group my all records based on customer ID and then perform an aggregate function on the due column. Okay, now next question for you guys, whether mentioning a aggregate function is mandatory or not. So what happens if I'm going to execute this query? Is it going to fail? The answer is no. Okay, now what happened in this? This just only combine or find all the distinct customer ID and mention or given as an output. And if I say I want to know all the purchases or the number of purchases done by a particular customer, then this is the query for that option. And again it is going to not going to return non-null values, because in practical it is not possible to have a null value in a due amount. If you are going to purchase anything, then the null value is not possible for total due. Okay, so let me execute this, and now this query is going to tell us that the customer ID done total 16 purchase. So let me see whether it is correct or not. So the count of not null records is okay. I am really sorry, this is count 1. Count 1 is going to return the number of records. It is not going to mention the count of due, so I had to write this in case I have to ignore null. So here is the difference. The first is the correct one to calculate how many records are available for customer ID 1. And if you want to ignore null values, then you can use count column name. This is going to return 12 because it is excluding these 4 records, and for customer ID 1 we have total 16 records. So if I'm going to use count, then 16 is written, and if I'm going to use count due, then only 16 minus 4, 12 will be written. So here is the 16 and 12. Okay, so this is the example of customer or the group by clause. Let me give more scenarios. Okay, and again, as I mentioned previously, I am using different types of aggregate function in my group by clause. Okay, now you can filter this record using where clause and having clause. So if I want to know the summary for a single customer or the let's say two customer, then I can use where or in. So let's say I have to find about the total purchase done by a customer ID1, then this is the query. And if I want to know the purchase done by customer ID1 and 2, so this is the query. Okay, no issue. And now I'm going to use our adventure work sales order header table for the group by example, or to write simple query on group by. So let me check the columns available in this first, and I want customer ID and total due. So this is customer ID and total due. Let me add order date. Okay, I'm going to use this, and let's say my first query, I want to write a query in which I want to find the sales done by, let's say I to find, let me copy this customer IDs. Now the question is, I have to find the sales done, the total sales done by this customer ID. So how to write this query? Simple. I don't want this right now. So total sale or total purchase done by this customer is this. So this is select star from column customer ID, the type of aggregation function you want to use, and then group by my customer ID. Okay, it is going to return everything, but I want record for only customer ID equals to this. Now it is going to return only records for customer ID 1. And what if I have to mention more than one records? I'm going to use in clause. And if you want to know about this, then you can check the video on where clause, how to use equality sign, how to use in clause, how to use range. Okay, this is done. Now I want to know the sales or the customer, all the purchases done by a customer in the month of, let's say this is the first date, so let's say the all the sales or all the purchases done by a customer in the month of May 2011. So how to perform or how to achieve this? For this I am going to use two columns in my order date. I want this order date, and I want to calculate, I want to find all the purchases done by this customer or these two customer in the month of May. And let's say not May, assume I have to find for this June month. So the start date of June is, and the end date of the June. Okay, the first date is first and the last date is 30. So let's execute this. Okay, here's the total sales done by this. Okay, sorry guys, sorry. Type the conversion of varchar data type to date time data type result in outrange. Sorry for this mistake. And in the month of June 2011, these two customers did not perform any purchases. So this query is returning nothing. Okay, this query also shows how to combine more than two conditions in our group by clause. So let me see, can I able to use other columns to perform the same? I think it contains territory ID or what? Revision number, order date, due date, ship date, status, purchase order number, account number, salesperson ID, territory ID. Okay. Okay, let's take territory ID. Select start from territory ID. I want to find the total sales done by in a territory and by all the customers. So this is the example for the same. So in territory 9, okay, let me order this by territory ID and then customer ID. So this is the sales done in territory 1 by all the customers, and so on. Let me filter it for better visibility. Territory ID equals to, let's say, 4. I hope you are able to understand the group by clause. And I covered almost I covered everything for this video. If you like this video and if you think this video is going to help your friends, don't forget or feel free to share it with your friends on different social networking websites. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment whether you like this video or not. And if you have any doubts, just leave a comment. You can also send me a private message. You can leave a comment if you want explanation on any part in this video. I will try to explain those part with different example or in other ways in to explain what exactly the group by clause or aggregate function is this. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you for watching, guys, and see you again in my next video.